Welcome to What's Up Wednesday. I'm Amy, and every Wednesday I come on to share my thoughts and answer our clients' questions of the week. It is springtime and it is gardening season. So as the weather starts to warm up, we're going to have many of us start to get out in our yards, get out in the gardens, and we're going to be doing spring cleanup. But are you one of those individuals that every single spring season you end up with aches and pains from overdoing it in the garden? Well, it's time for you to start to enjoy those accomplishments without the repercussions of having aches and pains. So I'm coming on today to help you go ahead and learn and share. I'm sharing basically my favorite tips for keeping you safe this season in the garden. So number one is let's take some time to warm up. Take a few minutes to move and stretch a little bit in kind of reproducing those activities that you're going to be doing in the garden. Number two, we want to change it up. Change your tasks and vary your tasks frequently so that this helps you start to be able to modify positions. So maybe you're spending 15, 20 minutes doing some weeding on the ground, and then after that, you're going to get up and you're going to grab a shovel, maybe doing some shoveling or do some watering at that time. This will start to help you really vary those, putting yourself in prolonged positions for excessive length of time. You also want to try to avoid excessive bending at the trunk with our legs straight. Try maybe kneeling on, excuse me, one or both knees, or grab a step stool. Take a seat on a step stool while you're doing some of your weeding. My third tip is let's think long. Start to invest in long-handled tools that will help you start to eliminate bending and or having to kneel. We want to do this especially as we age because it does get harder for us to get down onto the ground. My fourth tip is let's invest in a wagon. Use a wagon with large, sturdy wheels so that you don't have to lift and push a wheelbarrow. And my fifth tip is, as always, we want to listen to our body. Take frequent breaks. Check into your body for any signs of fatigue, any signs of ache or pain. When you start noticing these, definitely take time to rest. Take time to do maybe some stretching or some self-care, or that would be a time to change up a task or call it quits for the day. Because any time your body is starting to show these signs, you may be on that road to where you're going to flare up. And that's the time to take a break. And the sixth and final one is let's take time for you. After a day in the garden, I like to spend at least 10, 15 minutes doing some form of stretching and or self-care. So what these can look like for you, these are some of my favorite self-care techniques that I do after a day in the garden. And I'm going to go from left to right. So the first one is a rolled up towel or blanket in our lower abdomen. This is really nice to help us release any hip flexor tension from a lot of bending or squatting. And also it helps to decompress that low back. The second one in the middle top is going to be using a ball in our glutes or in the middle of our pelvis, which is going to be our sacrum area. And then the top right, we do a lot of upper extremity work when we're gardening. So doing some form of direct chest release with a ball can feel really, really nice. And then on the bottom left, of course, neck stretches. In the middle bottom, we are doing a lot of bending over. So doing some form of a chest opener. We like to use pillows, blankets, or even a foam roller to just soften onto it and open up our chest. And lastly, doing some form of back release or back stretch. So when you're done with gardening for the day, maybe choose 2 or 3 of these areas to just kind of do some form of self-care to help decrease any tension or tightness that has developed from the activity that you're doing. I encourage you, try some of these tips when you garden this season so that you can enjoy your accomplishments without regretting them because you had a flare-up or an injury. We always want you to be getting the results that you want. So if you have questions, make sure you're sending us an email or send a comment below and we'll answer them, as well as we may put them in one of our upcoming What's Up Wednesdays. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and I will see you next Wednesday. But stay safe this holiday or this gardening season and try some of these tips. Thanks everyone.